ونشهد أن محمدا عبد الله ورسوله أرسله الله تعالى بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله وكفى بالله شهيدا فصلى الله عليه وسلم تسليما كثيرا ثم أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وإن شر الأمور محدثاتها وإن كل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. يقول سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه الكريم بعد أقول أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وكذلك جعلناكم أمة وسطا لتكونوا شهداء على الناس ويكون الرسول عليكم شهيدا إلى آخر الآية. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. اللهم ثبتنا عند الموت بلا إله إلا الله واللهم اجعلنا من الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر آمين يا رب العالمين. I was very torn about what to speak with you about today for this khutbah, but in light of recent events, I felt compelled and almost felt like I had no choice but to share certain very basic things that you and I probably already know, but as we know that in our deen, reminder serves an essential benefit. So much so that the Friday prayer in the Quran, Allah Azza wa Jalla calls it, فَاسْعَوْا إِلَى ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ, rush to the remembrance of Allah. He calls it an institution of reminder. So more than learning something new, the Jum'ah prayer and the congregation of the Friday is supposed to be a mechanism by which we are reminded of certain very essential things that we tend to overlook. And sometimes we know things, but we don't internalize them. Or we know things, or we don't think about them, or they don't become conscious in our mind. So it's very important that we engage in this activity of reminder. This is also true of life outside of religion. If you have an exam coming up and you're a student, and you're goofing off, not studying, a friend comes over and tells you, don't you have an exam tomorrow? And you say, oh yeah, I better get studying. You already knew, but you needed the reminder to help you. That's just the nature of the human being. We benefit from reminder. So Allah Azza wa Jalla even goes on to mention, فَذَكِّرْ إِنَّ فَعَتِ الذِّكْرَى. Remind, for reminder has benefit. No doubt reminder serves to benefit. So my first sincere prayer to Allah Azza wa Jalla for myself and for all of you is that this reminder serves some kind of benefit. Secondly, we as an ummah, the Muslims, have been given a tremendous honor by Allah Azza wa Jalla. There are nations before us that came that disappointed Allah's standards. Allah Azza wa Jalla had certain expectations from them, and they were not able to meet those expectations. And then finally, Allah Azza wa Jalla installs and inaugurates the final ummah, the one that is supposed to meet the expectations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So He gifts them with the ultimate gifts. He gives them the final messenger, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And He gives them His final word, the Quran. He gives them the immaculate sunnah of His messenger and His final word, His book, the Quran. These are the gifts to this ummah that Allah Azza wa Jalla gives. And when He gives these gifts, there are high expectations. And of course, this is a tremendous honor. How does Allah Azza wa Jalla acknowledge this honor in the Quran? Allah Azza wa Jalla inaugurates us in this ayah that I recited before you in Surah Al-Baqarah. By the way, this surah, this ayah, is in context of two major events. One preceding event was of the dates that changed for fasting. The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam used to fast on the same days as the Jews. And for a while, they actually felt like they were okay. I mean, they knew He's a messenger. Allah tells us they knew He's a messenger. But they felt like they're not in trouble yet. Because after all, He's still praying. He's still fasting on the same days as them. And He's praying in the same direction as they are, so they felt like they're still okay. So Allah Azza wa Jalla does two things in Surah Al-Baqarah. The first major incident is the change of the direction of the Qibla. And then the change, of course, to the institution of the month of Ramadan. And in changing the Qibla, now the capital of the Ummah, the capital of Islam and the world has changed. Now this is the house built by Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam. So Allah Azza wa Jalla, upon this change, He announces He says, وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا. That is how we made you a middle nation. That is how we made you a middle nation. لِتَكُونُوا شُهَدَاءَ عَلَى النَّاسِ. So that you may become witness against people. I'm oversimplifying translation at this point. So that all of you may become witness against people. وَيَكُونَ الرَّسُولُ عَلَيْكُمْ شَهِيدًا. And the messenger, particularly against you, serves as a witness. There are two parts of this ayah that have to do with witnessing. The first part of it is when you were gifted and honored, called the middle nation. We'll talk about that in a second. What does it mean to be the middle nation? We'll come to some glimpses of that in a moment. But understand there are two kinds of witnesses being talked about in this ayah. One is that this ummah is witness against humanity. We'll try to understand what that means. And the other is that the messenger has been given a responsibility, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, a responsibility that is mentioned elsewhere in the Quran also. For example, in different words, it's mentioned in Surah An-Nisa. وَكَيْفَ إِذَا جِئْنَا مِنْ كُلِّ أُمَّةٍ بِشَهِيدٍ وَجِئْنَا بِكَ عَلَى هَؤُلَاءِ شَهِيدًا. How will it be when we bring a witness against every nation, and we will bring you as a witness against these people, meaning the ummah? And when the Messenger ﷺ would hear that ayah, he would start shedding tears, and he would ask the Sahabi to stop reciting because he couldn't take any more. This was a pretty heavy responsibility of the Messenger ﷺ having to bear witness against us. We'll try to understand what that means too. But first things first, what does it mean that we're the middle nation? Allah Azza wa Jalla mentions two nations that went two different wrong ways. And that is mentioned in the Fatiha itself. At the end of the Fatiha, we all recite, غَيْرِ الْمَغْضُوبِ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا الضَّالِّينَ. I want to simply explain to you in very simple language, without any complications. What does it mean, the path of al-Maghdubi alayhim and the path of al-Dhalleen? Essentially understand that our entire deen is a combination of two things. It's a combination of knowledge and action. You learn something, you know that it's true, you know that you're supposed to do it, and then you do it. You learn something, you know you're not supposed to do something, and you stop doing it. You take knowledge, and necessarily that knowledge leads to action. That's our entire deen. There were nations before us that gained a lot of knowledge, but even though they gained a lot of knowledge, they didn't translate that knowledge into action. They had knowledge, but their knowledge did not reflect in their behavior. This group is called al-Maghdubi alayhim in the Quran, the recipients of rage and wrath. On the other hand, you have a group of people that do a lot of good things from their own ideas. They think they're doing good. But what they do is not based on any knowledge. So you have a group that has knowledge but no action, and you have a group that has action but no knowledge. You've got these two problems. You've got al-Maghdubi alayhim on the one hand, the recipients of rage, and on the other hand, al-Dhalleen, the lost. They're doing stuff, but they don't even know why. They don't have knowledge. Allah Azza wa Jalla makes us the middle nation. The nation that has knowledge, and once it acquires that knowledge, it translates into action. We're right down the middle. We don't have this problem nor that problem. That's what we're supposed to be. But if you look at the state of the ummah today, a lot of us Muslims, we have knowledge, and that knowledge isn't resulting in action. And a lot others among the ummah itself, our own, they have a lot of actions, but those actions are not based on any knowledge. We've got these two problems now within the ummah, but we were supposed to be the people in the middle. And if you know something about the nations of the Jews and the Christians, we know that in the Quran also Allah Azza wa Jalla talks about them differently. One of the big criticisms Allah Azza wa Jalla makes against the Bani Israel is that their hearts have become hard. Like he mentioned, ثُمَّ قَسَتْ قُلُوبُكُمْ. Their hearts have become hard.